pick, but I think there should have been way greater value considering Michael McCarron got a second-round pick. Here's a pure fourth liner. Nick Dowd got a second-round pick. He's a pure fourth liner. Why is Bobby McMahon only getting a second-round pick? And why are you not retaining salary? Why are you not packaging him to increase his value? You just kind of sold him, and you didn't really do the absolute best you could possibly can to get the best return on Bobby McMahon. And this is where I'm going to turn to fans here, and some fans that are saying, well, what do you think? Brad Treliving just left better offers on the table? No, of course I don't think that. But the general manager's job is to get the best return possible at any given point. So if Brad Treliving retained on Bobby McMahon and got a 26 goal score to below league minimum, it would have been fantastic. If he would have retained on Scott Laughton at 50%, got him to below league minimum or near that for a fourth liner, a good third liner potentially, like that would have had value. So for me, I think that obviously, Brad Treliving took the best offer, but let's not forget that it's the general manager's job to get the best offer possible. It's your job to create the most value within your player, to persuade other GMs that your player is the player that they should be paying for or potentially overpaying for. And anybody who says, well, the market dictates the return, I'm looking at the market. I'm looking at Michael McCarron that has 5 goals this year and is a pure fourth liner. I'm looking at Nick Dowd, who is also a pure fourth liner at $3 million. Bobby McMahon and Scott Laughton are both not over $1.5 million each. So what market are we looking at? I'm looking at McCarron getting a second, Nick Dowd getting a second, and then Scott Laughton not getting a second, Bobby McMahon only getting a second and then a fourth. So you're telling me the difference between Bobby McMahon and Michael McCarron is a fourth round pick? That's ridiculous. Of course not. So for me, I get it. Brad Treliving took the best return that he was offered. I get that. But it's more so, why did he not package Bobby McMahon with Scott Laughton? Why did he not retain on those players to increase their value? That's the general manager's job. If you're just going to sit there and say, whoa, he took the best offer possible, then a machine can do that. A robot can just click accept on the best return possible. That's not the general manager's job. The general manager's job is to increase the value as much as humanly possible on his players, on his assets, and Brad Treliving failed to do that. Why was Bobby McMahon not getting salary retention? I have no idea. Why was Scott Laughton not getting salary retention? I have no idea. Those would have been 2 guys that would have been making around league minimum. You could have got way more. You could have packaged McMahon with Oliver Ekman-Larsson and got another first-round pick. Like, it just doesn't make sense how the general manager of this team did not increase the value of his own assets. I get it. He took the best offers he was offered, but it's his job to increase. This is what I talked about earlier. I wanted to see creativity. I wanted to see salary retention. I wanted to see Brad Treliving combining players together to increase their value. I wanted to see him taking back bad contracts so that they would eventually get more in the deal. They didn't use any of those tactics to increase the player's value. And that's where I struggle with fans that say, oh, what do you think? Brad Treliving just didn't take the best offer possible. I know that Brad Treliving took the best offer possible, but it's his job to increase the value on those players. That's the general manager's job. I just think that to be defending Brad Treliving is a joke at this point. He didn't use any tactics that would have made him look creative, smart, intelligent, nothing. He just took very baseline players, took them at the value that they had. He didn't compare, it's just, for me, I wasn't a fan of Brad Treliving's deadline, and I'm going to leave it at that. And I think another mistake for the Maple Leafs was not trading Oliver Ekman-Larsson. So it just keeps piling and piling and piling. Like, Oliver Ekman-Larsson is 35 years old, and I get it. He's having a very, very good offensive season. But you acquired this player through free agency for $3.5 million. You got him for practically free. So it shouldn't have been, oh, we can't get this, we can't get a first. It doesn't matter. I get it. Ekman-Larsson's a fan favorite. He's great offensively. But Oliver Ekman-Larsson, aside from this year, has been a third-pair defenseman for many years now. He's making $3.5 million. You got him for practically free in free agency because you didn't pay any assets, you just paid him money, right? Getting anything for him would have been a great deal. It would have, because his shooting percentage is very high this year. I want to believe, but I just don't believe that he's going to be able to do what he's doing this season, going into his age 35 season, where this season his shooting percentage is absolutely through the roof. I don't believe he's going to be able to do it again. So this was his peak value at this trade deadline, and you couldn't get anything back for him that you wanted to trade him for. And whether they were getting a first-round pick or not, I'm not entirely sure. You can't really, if you weren't being offered a first-round pick, you weren't being offered a first-round pick. I would have liked to see them say, could you combine OEL and Laughton in a deal and then get a first-round pick? It's just, for me, it's so confusing. There's so many keys that they missed out on, in my opinion. They could have done so many different things, and It's just frustrating. I think they should have dealt Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I think it's a massive mistake. I think they missed out on a player's peak value. Like I said, his shooting percentage is through the roof. He's not going to be able to have that same shooting percentage next year. So his offense is going to go down. He's already not a prolific defensive player. He's not good defensively already. You should have just cashed in when you could have on Oliver Ekman-Larsson this past deadline. So you add up the McMahon trade, the Lon trade, the Waugh trade was fine for me, and then also not trading Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I think it's just the deadline was a failure for me. Very boring, no creativity, no retention on players, no packaging players, no taking back bad salaries to increase the value on certain players. It was just very boring, very vanilla, and it just makes me... I don't understand. I don't understand how management just couldn't get more for Bobby McMahon, couldn't get more for Scott Lawton.